Thank you, Thomas. Thank you, Wilma, for the introduction, and thank you all for being here. It's really impressive to see people indeed from Berlin, Vienna, Antwerp. I think that also is already a signal that TVM is doing something very right, because yeah, seeing is believing, but if you go to the website of Odyssey, you browse through the challenges, I truly think that from a market creating perspective, the TVM challenge is one of the most interesting ones. So therefore I'm glad that you're all here. And let's see, because this is the third edition of the Odyssey hackathon, and of course numbers like 100 teams and 20 challenges, 200k in cash prize money are okay, but it's about what we are actually doing at the hackathon. Any of the people here were at the first hackathon in 2017 we did? Dennis, and you here? Okay, you were great. I think back then Solidity was quite a mess back then, so it was finding out what we could do in certain contexts, because people had grasps of certain use cases and concepts that could be facilitated by using blockchain. And then we started finding out more. Actually, quite a lot of teams were able to further develop their ideas. Yesterday we had a track deep dive with APG, and the winners of this first hackathon are still developing their startup Nest Egg with a great solar product with APG together. So it shows that a lot of our partners have the commitment to take the good results forward because they make sense. And why do they make sense? We don't develop them on an island or in an office. We develop them together with the launching clients, but also their stakeholders. So that's the interesting formula we found during this hackathon, where we expected about 200 people to be there, and then we had so many team registrations that we ended up with 55 teams from 10 countries and over 500 people. So that was year one, and then year two was 64 teams from 22 countries. Who was there? Also a little bit more already, yeah, that was also exciting, because more and more it becomes clearer where not to use blockchain and where blockchain may be the difference to the existence of a new solution or not. And I think this year again it's much clearer. So quickly the trailer for the upcoming hackathon.
Hey, hey.
You're not into cryptocurrency to make a quick buck. You're in this because you're building a system that enables everyone to participate and benefit. You're not in blockchain to make the status quo more efficient. You're in this to reinvent the way we organize society for the 21st century. You're part of a global movement. Our biggest problems today are shared problems. Problems no one owns. Problems that we need to solve together in the commons.
We need interconnected, collaborative communities, and they need new digital public infrastructure to support that. This is infrastructure that nobody owns, but everybody can use and build on top of that.
This April, 1,500 selected pioneers will be on the move from all over the world.
You bring together the coders, you bring together people with the creative ideas and the potential clients, the businesses. So it's the government and the corporates.
This will be the third edition of the biggest blockchain hackathon on Earth. 20 challenges by corporate and governmental launching partners, 100 teams, 200 supporting experts, including regulators, €200,000 in cash rewards, connecting ecosystems, unlocking new markets, discovering the future by actually building it together. This is the way to move beyond the hype, toward the commonization of our digital public infrastructure. Join 1,500 builders in Groningen, the Netherlands. We have prepared. Real challenges are waiting for real solutions.
When we initiate such an infrastructure, you unlock a completely new market for everybody in the space.
We are offering you a new market with launching partners that understand why you are in this space. They will build with you. Team registrations are open from January 18th until February 25th. Unlock your potential. Build your Odyssey.
We have made some decisions based on the last hackathon, and that's to take the ecosystem we are building together, because it belongs to no one. You're it. We collaborate a lot with our ecosystem to find the direction which resonates most. And in the second hackathon, it was already clear that it is not so much about blockchain, it's about making a difference to really organize society or economy in a different way. And we really have a strong belief that the creation of open digital public infrastructure is the way to totally new forms of collaboration, whether that is in a more societal perspective and context or in a far more commercial context. And therefore we are looking for open protocols that allow everyone to collaborate, that allow everyone to contribute. It's the spirit of what Satoshi Nakamoto brought in the white paper. It's how Bitcoin, Ethereum are true digital public infrastructures, but it's also what we know from the internet. Who owns the internet? Nobody. Who owns email? Nobody. Who owns the web? Nobody. And we've come to a world where if you look at the use of blockchain and AI, then the question becomes, what do we think of the Chinese government doing things with that technology? And what do we think of Google and companies like them to do with the same technology? So we're looking at surveillance capitalism and nation-state surveillance. And what does it bring us? Do we need to use these kind of technologies to buy more stuff, to sell more stuff, or can we do other things with it? And I think the partners in the Odyssey hackathon clearly know that we can do much more with that than just use it for the status quo. So if we look at an example of this, Thomas was with us at the EU Blockathon we did. If you look at supply chain and the integrity of what is being moved throughout the supply chain to us, the consumers, then if you look at the product that is authentic and the certificate for authenticity released by the manufacturer travels throughout the different parties in the supply chain, for example, the logistics provider like DHL or KLM Cargo, the customs. Well, right now the European customs can only check 1% of all the parcels coming into the EU, right? So they cannot check for authenticity. But if you know a cargo is authentic product straight from the manufacturer, then you can green lane it, for example. But also, if you want to resell it, for example, my mobile phone, how do you know it's a real phone? Well, right now you can't really check. And would you have a token, then it's clearly that this moves from party A to B, and we have to be able to prove to each other that the token went from A to B and that I am the holder of the unique token. So there, blockchain is really clearly a useful piece of technology. And therefore also you can see that this token solution, which was called a virtual twin, resides not on the level of, let's say, what Uber is doing, owning that protocol and wanting to extract all the revenue from it and all the value. No, if this protocol, like email, if email would be owned by one company, then what would the adoption be, right? That would be an ultimate information monopoly. And this is what we don't want to see coming out of this. We are clearly looking at a protocol layer, which is more part of the digital commons, is the open digital public infrastructure. And by using blockchain, nobody has to own it. And it will increase the possibility for adoption. On top of that protocol, just like with other protocols like the web or email, of course, there need to be clients, services, all kinds of products that integrate the protocol in the business processes, and in the consumer processes. So for each protocol, there is a new market that is unlocked by such a protocol. Right? So that's the vision we have, and that's how we see the market of the public blockchains unfolding for the next coming 10 to 15 years. So there's the protocol layer and the application layer, and of course if you're working on the protocol, you have a pretty good insight on how to use it for the applications and serve clients. Right? So that's a very, very exciting and enabling way of looking at how to use blockchain, and of course you can create in this way open data ecosystems and stuff like that. So there's a lot to that. All the challenges have been very well prepared. We were at the Hall of Knights in September, and from that moment on, we've been working with the partners and stakeholders to really define the challenges to make sense in an interconnected, decentralized world. To be ready to develop these new kinds of public infrastructures. The teams, thanks Stefan. Stefan, for each deep dive, I get a new team slide. So it is always a surprise to me, but Taz is my favorite, so I really like this one. But also the teams are preparing really well. I mean, you all being here make the perfect point. The teams are preparing really well. The knowledge we see at our deep dives, but also the teams that are already registering are really, really good. I think there's another Stefan in the house, right? You're Stefan? Yes?
Me too, but...
Okay, yeah. You have, yeah, me too. Cool. So, Stefan, you have registered a team?
Yes.
For this track, right?
Yes, I did.
Can you tell me what your plan is? Why did you register for this track?
The thing is, we are focusing at the moment at the last mile, and what we're doing there is recording liability. Yeah. And immediately pay the courier, so he can grab his beer at night.
Cool. So that's a good starting point to co-create with with all the experts that will be at the hackathon. So it's my pleasure to congratulate you. Because with this we confirm that you can enter the hackathon. So that's pretty cool. So that means 4 spots left. Quickly, the hackathon itself. We arrive on Thursday. It's always a really nice day because we have hundreds of people coming in from all over the world. And with so many experts, it's super cool to do some extra master classes and share extra knowledge before the hackathon starts. So throughout the city there will be these master classes, and of course after the master classes there will be the welcoming party. Grab the drinks on the first evening, but beware, Groningen does not have closing hours for the bars. So this is why we start at 12 o'clock. The next day. So get in at 10 o'clock, settle down at your spot, and at 12 o'clock we have the opening ceremony. The winning teams use the Friday to validate their assumptions and ideas and to pivot. Right? You want to get rid of all the assumptions that are not true, and the only way to find out is to talk with a lot of people and experts. Saturday it's go, 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 of course. It's always the night from Saturday to Sunday, which is packed and where people have all-nighters and stuff like that. It's a really nice atmosphere. And on Sunday, the jury panel members will assess all the prototypes that have been made. And it's very easy, the scheme for a jury assessment. You have the team and the solution. And you have the quality of both that turns into a result. But of course we're looking at what can happen after the hackathon, because that's when you look at potential for the team and the solution to get as far as you want. And this is what we have as a new element, the Monday. 20 winners from 20 challenges will be here at the Monday. And imagine we have all these partners. They invite their most important stakeholders to be at the cusp of what has been developed, and from the get-go see how they can help the winning team move forward in the fastest possible way. So that will be a very interesting day to connect and meet all these stakeholders from the partners. Especially I think also for this track, for example, the AFM and the Dutch National Bank and the Ministry of Finance, they're also interesting to keep in mind. They surely have ideas on what we're doing here. The deadline to register is 25th of May, February, sorry. 25th of May, February. This week, it's a hackathon week for my team, but also for the partners, because we have all kinds of meetings like this throughout the country for all of the tracks and challenges. I know that a couple of people here as well, they're orienting on several challenges and tracks. It's a really good way to find out and to connect with the challenge holders and the partners and see what their motivation is, and also for you to give feedback. What do you need at the hackathon? Do you need also perhaps truck drivers or something else, you know? So really think about what you need from the partners, because they are a hub. And I think what sets TVM apart from the rest is that you hear a lot in blockchain land about forming consortia, and it's really hard. Dennis also was mentioning it before we started. And you see that all these big companies, they have a lot of trouble gathering these consortia. But TVM already has a consortia. It's huge. So what an opportunity this is. So have fun exploring that. Thank you.